Montavani plays the Beatles. Okay. Next paragraph says, my schoolmate visited me, that's Ebby, and I fully acquainted him with my problems and deficiencies. Fifth step, admitted to God, ourselves, another human being, the exact nature of our wrong. We made a list of people I had hurt or toward whom I felt resentment. I expressed my entire willingness to approach these individuals, admitting my wrong. Step 8. Made a list of all people we'd harmed, became willing to make amends to them all. Never was I to be critical of them. See, critical of them means take their inventory. Never was I to do that. I was to right all such matters to the utmost of my ability. Ninth step, direct amends. What does to the best of my ability mean? To the utmost of my ability, not the best of my ability. The max. See, you might say, my attitude about this, that it's the same attitude I had all my life. I was going to do the least that could get me by. So that's always been my attitude in life. See, I need a new attitude. See, I don't need to be shrinking from my amends. See, I need to be cleaning them up to the utmost of my ability to clean them up. See, I need to be honest with myself to the utmost I can be honest with myself. I need to be thorough to the utmost I can be thorough. See, not the least that's going to get me by. See, so you might look at your attitude. Okay, so I was to write all such matters to the utmost of my ability. I was to test my thinking by the new God consciousness within. See, so something, is supposed to happen to Bill that's going to give him an ability to tell the true from the false. And that's the God consciousness within. Common sense would thus become uncommon sense. Those two sentences are step 10. Continuing to take personal inventory when we're wrong, promptly admitting it, that is common sense. How commonly do we see it? Very seldom. It's very uncommon. So, you might, you start to ask yourself what's common in your life and what would you like? Is peace of mind common or uncommon? What do you got? Is happiness common or is unhappiness common? So you start looking at stuff like that. Okay, I was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for direction and strength to meet my problems as he would have me. Never was I to pray for myself, except as my request bore on my usefulness to others. That's all step 11. Seeking through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us, power to carry it out. Then only might I expect to receive, but that would be in great measure. Okay? Next paragraph, step 12. My friend promised, when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my Creator. And all of us, no matter what our previous relationship has been, it hasn't worked. So we're looking for a new relationship with our Creator. That's the first promise in step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of going to meetings, dealing with my feelings, learning how to love myself, being present at the most recent convention, barbecues. Result of what? These steps. My friend promised that when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my Creator, that I would have the elements of a way of living. So the elements of the way of living come from where? The steps. Not from the activities, not from the meetings. We get the elements of a new way of life, from actually working the steps. Okay? So I would have the elements of a way of living which answered what? All my problems. So that's why we, in our 12th step, it says practice these principles in all of our affairs. Why? Because it works. Okay? It ain't about being holy or good. Okay? It's about you want your problem solved. Do you want a solution? Okay. The last two sentences here, if you would, number these things in order. Number 1 is belief in the power of God. Notice the wording. It doesn't say belief in God. We're on page 13, Jack, at the bottom. Okay. Belief in the power of God. Plus, number 2, enough willingness. Number 3, honesty. And number 4, humility. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Belief in the power of God, plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility to establish and maintain. All right. The word establish means to bring something about. Maintain means to keep it there. Okay? So what are the requirements, see, to establish and maintain this new order of things? Belief in the power of God, willingness, honesty, and humility. See, so looking at that, see, can you see that you can never do without those four things? See, we must acquire them, see, or get them somewhere, see, and then we got to keep them, see, if we wish to be spiritually awakened and remain sober, see, because they are necessary to bring about this spiritual awakening, and they are necessary to keep it there. See? So these are four things we're never going to be able to do without if we want to be recovered from alcoholism. So let's do it again. Belief in the power of God plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility to establish and maintain the new order of things were the essential requirements. See, there's no musts in the program, right? See, what do those two words, essential and required, hooked together, mean to you? Ignore this. Don't pay any attention to this. Take what you like, leave the rest. Right. Okay. Next sentence. Simple but not easy. Everybody see those four words? Okay, now have any of you ever heard them in an AA meeting? Simple but not easy. See, I've been in AA, like I told you, 9 years. I've heard those four words, a few hundred times. See, and they are always spoken as a complete sentence. See, somebody says simple but not easy, as if there's a period after the word easy. See? Now, does your book have a period after the word easy? No, it has a semicolon, which means what? Something follows. All right, let's all read what follows out loud together. A price had to be paid. I have never once heard that entire sentence quoted in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Not one single time. You might look at your own experience if you're somebody who's been to a lot of meetings. How often do you hear someone say a price has to be paid? All right? Now, let's all ask ourselves, who has to pay this price? Me. See? Did Bill Wilson die for our sins? Nope. See, Bill Wilson worked the steps, so we don't have to. See, Bill Wilson was spiritually awakened. That's good enough for us. See? See? Take a look. See? So you got to ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? See? Now, that immediately brings up the question, what's the price? Let's all read the next sentence together out loud. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. Keep your finger there on page 14. Go back to page 2. What do you see all over page 2? What do we call that? Self-centeredness. I'm here for me. I'm working my program. I'm doing this for me. Okay? It's all about me. I had a good day. I had a bad day. I felt like drinking. No, I haven't felt like drinking. I. All right. Let's read the sentence again. Simple but not easy. There's no period after easy. It meant, or a price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. I must, there aren't any musts, right? I must turn in all things to the Father of light who presides over us all. Okay? Now, you don't have to believe in God as a Father of light. That's simply a term that Bill used and liked quite frequently. Okay, these were revolutionary and drastic proposals. Is anybody beginning to get a sense of that from reading the book? See that what they're calling the way of life, see, is revolutionary and drastic. These were revolutionary and drastic proposals. See, they're easy to talk about. They only become revolutionary and drastic, see, when you're faced with the prospect of doing them. See, if you're an attender of meetings and a talker of stuff, see, it's not too revolutionary and drastic at all. See, my first year in AA, there was nothing revolutionary and drastic about that. See, but once I had to do it, these were revolutionary and drastic proposals. But the moment I fully accepted them, ask yourself, have you fully accepted? What does fully mean? Complete, entire, whole. Moment I fully accepted them, the effect was, oh shit, I gotta go to AA. No, the effect was what? Electric. There was a sense of victory. Anybody in here felt like a loser all your life besides me? See? Sense of victory, followed by such a peace and serenity as I had never known. There was what kind of confidence? Not self. See? Not self-confidence. Utter confidence. I felt lifted up as though the great clean wind of a mountaintop blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound, bland. Okay. For a moment I was alarmed, called my friend the doctor to ask if I were still sane. This is very interesting. See, Bill see, was nuts. Works the steps, has a spiritual experience. What happens? It starts him on the road to sanity. His mind grabs hold of this, see, and his mind can't tell the true from the false. See, so his mind sees that he's going sane and tells him he's going what? Insane. See, and it scares him. See, now, I've worked with a lot of alcoholics, and quite often, see, especially when we're done with the fifth step, see, I get a phone call, people going, God, this is weird. Yeah, that's one of the most commonly used words following the fifth. This is weird. See, things start to change, and point of view starts changing. See, and peace of mind, all that stuff starts to happen. People call up, they get scared. See, they think they're going nuts. See, when in fact they're going sane. See? See, it's a very strange thing. See, and see, once you begin to understand that, and those of you who have worked the steps and worked with others have seen this happen, I'm sure. See, is sanity looks insane to the insane. See, and that's why many times in some people in Alcoholics Anonymous, when they hear someone talking about the book and being recovered and all, they get all upset. See, sanity looks insane, see, to someone who's insane. Does that make sense to you? See, it's really kind of logical, but it's flip-flop. Okay. So for a moment I was alarmed and called my friend the doctor to ask if I were still sane. He listened in wonder as I talked. Finally, he shook his head, saying, something has happened to you I don't understand, but you had better hang on to it. Let's all read the next sentence together. Anything is better than the way you were. Anything. See, for a lot of us, blowing our brains out is better than the way we were. See, anything is better. See, here's this guy. See, something real major is beginning to happen. Okay? The good doctor, these next two sentences are very important. It says, the good doctor now sees, what's the next word? Many men who have had what? Such experiences. See? He saw this happen repeatedly. Remember we read that right at the beginning of the doctor's experience, or doctor's opinion? See? And based on having seen this kind of stuff happen with a number of people, see, the doctor now knows something. Let's all read the next sentence together out loud. What does the word they mean? The experiences. See? The spiritual experiences. See? So here's this expert, remember, we read in the doctor's opinion, 38 years of experience. See? And he knows, see, that the spiritual experience brought about as a result of the steps is a reality. See? And he knows that because he's seen it happen, not just to Bill, see, but to a bunch of the other early people in AA. See? Now that brings up a question. See, what do you believe? Do you believe that's what AA is really all about? See, that's how you become a recovered alcoholic? See, do you believe that? Do you know that it's real? Is that what you want? See, question yourself. What are your beliefs here? See, I know a lot of people in AA don't believe this at all. See, they think this is all a bunch of trash. See, it's all some wish or dream or something that happened to people 50 years ago. It doesn't happen anymore. What do you think? See, the good doctor now sees many men who have such experiences. He knows that they are real. Okay? What did Dr. Silkworth say? You may rely absolutely on anything these guys say about themselves. Okay, while I lay in the hospital, the thought came. You might ask yourself, where did this thought come from in this self-centered man? See, the thought came that there were thousands of hopeless alcoholics who might be glad to have what had been so freely given me. Perhaps I could sell it to some of them for about $39.95. What does he say? Perhaps I could help some of them. See, they in turn might work with others. See, and Bill's beginning to see this pass it on thing. Starts, the whole idea of that begins to occur to him immediately. See, now how many days sober is he at this point? About 5. See, right around 5 days, detoxing in a hospital. Isn't that interesting? See, so many of us come into AA, see, and somebody tells us, don't even think about doing this. See, for a couple of years. See, maybe never. You got time, you got room, stuff like that. Okay, let's see, this next paragraph is incredibly wishy-washy and vague. All right? My friend had emphasized the absolute necessity of demonstrating. See, what's the difference between demonstrate and talk? Action, doing. See? The absolute necessity of demonstrating these principles. Now, what principles are they talking about? The 12 steps, see, that we saw over on page 13. Demonstrating these principles in where? In all my affairs. Particularly was it imperative. Imperative means important times 5. See, to work with others how? As he had worked with me. See, there is a method, see, for doing this. All right, next sentence says, faith without works was dead, he said. Everybody see that sentence? Okay, now please take your pen and scratch out the word faith in that sentence. Scratch out, be gone, faith.
Faith.
All right, and write your name where the word faith is. Now, read the sentence again. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
See? Now, see, if you're new to Alcoholics Anonymous, see, and you don't even understand this at this point, that's all right. See, just ask yourself if you have an open mind. See, what I just want you to notice is how strongly, see, and factually and truthfully these things are written, that they are not vague and hard to understand at all for anyone who has an open mind and takes a look. See? This is not difficult to comprehend. Okay? See, and yet I took a whole year in this uncomprehending mode simply because I wasn't willing enough or open-minded enough to take a look to see what they were saying to me. Okay? Faith without works was dead, he said, and how appallingly true for the alcoholic. Now, how many people in here think you might be an alcoholic at this point? Anybody? Okay? Here comes one of the first promises in the book. See, for if an alcoholic, now that might be you, it's certainly me, failed, see, to do something, to perfect and enlarge his or her spiritual life, how? Through work and self-sacrifice for others, what would happen? He could not survive.
Splat.
Say it again louder.
Splat.
Okay? The certain trials and low spots ahead. See? So there's another thing that happens in some of our groups. See, some of us walk in and we're new, and people start telling us things like the pain is optional, see, and start promising us that life is all going to be hunky-dory and just wonderful, see, once we get sober. See, what do the words certain trials and low spots mean to you? See, the book doesn't pull any punches. See, life does go on. The certain trials and low spots ahead. All right, now we look at, see, our experience in Alcoholics Anonymous, and we ask ourselves, how many of us actually do survive the certain trials and low spots? Maybe 1 out of 10. See? So why is it, see, that so few of us survive the certain trials and low spots? What was the beginning of the sentence? We fail to perfect and enlarge our spiritual life. How? Through work and self-sacrifice for others. See, how do we do that? We take the easier, softer way. We think that just going to meetings and mouthing slogans and hugging each other, and see, those are all good things, see, but they're not what the book talks about in terms of being a recovered alcoholic. Okay? Just want you to understand that. Okay?
Michael,
Ooh, yeah.
would you talk about the word perfect? Perfect is spiritual life.
Yeah. The question was bottom page 14, about the 6th word there is perfect. It's not perfect. It's perfect. It's a verb. To perfect something means that you work on it. See? You're trying to make it perfect. See? With a realization that it isn't. Okay? See, perfect is a lot like the word practice. The word practice means to do repeatedly with a view toward perfection. Okay? See, a good example is, see, the best hitters in baseball hit the baseball a little bit over 1 out of 3 times. See? And so those guys, every day, what are they out there doing before the game? They're practicing. See, they're way short of perfect. They aren't even half perfect. But they get paid millions of dollars for being as good as they are. See, so they're out there trying to perfect, see, their ability to hit baseballs. Okay? So, does that make that clear? See, if an alcoholic fails to perfect, see, so doesn't that mean you know what you're doing? See? See, can someone who's absolutely ignorant and in the dark about all this perfect something? It can't be done. Okay. For if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his or her spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive certain trials and low spots ahead. If he did not work, he would, what does the word surely mean? Surely. See, drink again. And if he drank, he would surely die. We're talking about a real alcoholic here. See, then faith would be dead indeed. See, and with us, it's just like that. See, so you might look at your own experience. See, I should have had this little banner. You know those banners that beauty queens wear, Miss America, all that. See, mine should have said Mr. Lip Service. See, in AA. See, I should have walked around, did talent contest, and answering the questions right, Mr. Lip Service. See, I had no idea, of how or even a desire to work, to go through any kind of self-sacrifice for anybody at all. See, my first year in AA. Okay, with us, who's the us? 100 men and women, all of whom had admitted they're real alcoholics. It's just like that. Okay, my wife and I said, oh shit, man, we gotta hang around with these losers. Is that what your book says? Anybody got that attitude? Nobody else. My wife and I abandon ourselves with enthusiasm. You ought to look up the word enthusiasm in a dictionary one of these days. And one of the things you'll find out is that the root of the word is God, theos. My wife and I abandon ourselves with enthusiasm to the idea of helping other alcoholics to a, now what's the word after A? See, does it say discussion? It doesn't say discussion. It says a solution of their problems. Okay? It was fortunate for my old business associates remained skeptical for a year and a half, during which I found little work. I was not too well at the time. See, Bill was, physically had a whole lot of stuff left over from his drinking. I was not too well at the time and was plagued by waves of self-pity and resentment. So did he become Mr. Perfect following his spiritual experience? See, did he put on a white robe and start speaking great spiritual truths? See, no. See, he's just a human being. He's a spiritually awakened human being. See, but he's still got what? Certain trials and low spots ahead. See, even after this powerful, what they call the white light experience. Okay, this sometimes nearly drove me back to drink, but I soon found that when all other measures failed, work with another alcoholic would save the day. Bill, in this sense, was kind of fortunate, see, because there weren't any meetings to go to. See, it didn't exist. See, so he was forced to discover, see, the 12th step. See, many of us think, see, when we are nearly driven back to drink, a meeting will save the day. See, what does he say? Work with another alcoholic will save the day. Okay, many times I've gone to my old hospital in what condition? Sound like everything was hunky-dory with this guy? See, I'd really like to suggest that everybody read the book Pass It On, see, especially the part following, see, Bill's getting sober and what went on with him, see, during the ensuing 4 to 6 years while AA was in its infancy. See, it's not about a hunky-dory life. See, the people who put this book together and the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, see, exhibited a kind of willingness that I can only wish for. See, and I doubt if many of us, see, would have survived the kind of things that those guys went through in terms of financial distress, family problems, all that kind of stuff, stayed sober and continued, see, with working with other alcoholics. You don't see much of that kind of willingness today. See, many of us take it for granted. It's one of our major shortcomings. It certainly was one of mine. You might look at your own experience of that. Okay, many times I've gone to my old hospital in despair. On talking to a man there, I'd be amazingly lifted up and set on my feet. Anybody here got any experience of how 12-step work does that? See, when there's problems in your life, keep your hands up. Okay, those of you who don't have experience, look around. See, a lot of us have found that to be true. See, everything is not hunky-dory all the time. See, even if you've got a spiritual awakening and you're working the steps. Okay, Bill says it's a design for living, see? What's a design for living? Work, self-sacrifice for others, helping other people, see, which really puts us back on track. See, so that's the way of life in AA. See, all the activities that I kind of make fun of, see, those are good things. I'm not saying don't do that. See, but the meetings and the barbecues and the conventions and the dances are wonderful things. They are not the AA way of life. See, what he's talking about here is, okay, we commence to okay. We commence, which means began, to make many what kind of friends? Fast. What kind of friends did he used to have? Fair weather. Okay. And, and a fellowship has grown up among us. All right, this is a very interesting thing that everybody works steps begins to find. See, is that the fellowship, see, that they talk about in the book is something that grows up about you when you're spiritually awakened. See, and begin to transmit the message of Alcoholics Anonymous. See, and it's very different from what we see when we walk into AA meetings. See, that's the membership, the organization. See, but there's a very different thing called the fellowship of the Spirit. See, that the book talks about. See, the fellowship has grown up among us. See, it's not really something you even join. It's something that happens as a result of working the steps. It's grown up among us, of which it's a wonderful thing to be the head dude. See, the president. See, can you see a little humility has already entered this guy's life the way he writes that? You remember all the I, me, my at the beginning of the chapter? And notice, see, the absence of the I, me, my and his point of view about other people coming up here. The joy of living we really have, even under pressure and difficulty. I've seen hundreds of families set their feet in the path that really goes somewhere. I've seen the most impossible domestic situations righted, feuds and bitterness of all sorts wiped out. I've seen men come out of asylums and resume a vital place in the lives of their families and communities. Business and professional men have regained their standing. There's scarcely any form of trouble and misery which has not been overcome among us. See, now, I know that some of us in this room, see, are in the middle of trouble and misery right now. See, any AA meeting, see, we have people who are in the middle of trouble and misery and suicidal and, see, depressed and afraid and all kinds of stuff. And I'd just like to point out, see, what these sentences are actually saying. See, if you're somebody, especially somebody who's been in and out of AA or to AA for a while and you haven't found a solution, see, you're unhappy in your sobriety, read these sentences again. See, and see if they describe what you got going on, see, because the point I want to make to you and want you to see in this book is that there is a solution for you. See, if you're someone here who's sitting here, with some very serious problems going on in your life. Some open-mindedness and some willingness. See, there is a solution for you. You're not excluded. See, and it may simply have to do with being open-minded and investigating a little more, see, and finding out how to do this. See, just notice the promise of that in your life. Okay, we've got a question over here. Don.
A comment. You used the analogy of the drunk on the railroad track with the train at 80 miles an hour. And I noticed now that you also said that after spiritual experience, working with alcoholics puts us back on the track. And what you're saying is, if you get back on the same track you were on before, somebody else has given you enough power to stay ahead of the freight train.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I can dance on railroad tracks now. No problem. No fear. Okay, we're 3 lines from the bottom now. It says, in one western city. Now, this western city is Cleveland that they're talking about. It's not L.A. One western city is environs. Environs means the surrounding area. There are 1,000 of us in our families. We meet frequently so we can dump our shit on each other. Is that what your book says? No. What does it say? We meet frequently so that newcomers may find the what? Fellowship, see, that they seek. Okay. At these informal gatherings, one may often see from 50 to 200 persons. We are growing in numbers and power. Okay. An alcoholic in his cups means drunk, if you're not familiar with the term. Say a drunk, in other words, is an unlovely creature. Anybody in here besides me ever been an unlovely creature? Okay. All right. Have any of you besides me been unlovely sober? Yeah, see, so some of us alcoholics, even sober, are not lovely creatures. Okay? Our struggles with them, see, are variously 3 things. Strenuous. See, strenuous means hard work. Comic means funny. Tragic means very sad. Okay? And that's very true. See, one poor chap, and this chap's name was Bill, his last initial was C. He's a 30-year-old Canadian lawyer. See, one poor chap committed suicide in my home. Okay, so Bill and Lois were trying to help this guy out, and he just offed himself. He could not or would not see what? Our way of life. See? So here's a guy, say a 30-year-old guy who hung around, see, with a very recovered, spiritually awakened alcoholic. See, he actually lived with Bill and Lois for a year, apparently, see, but it didn't rub off on him. See, you don't get it by osmosis. See, at the end of that, he was still unwilling to turn his will and his life over to God, admit his powerlessness, clean house, trust God, make his amends, and live his life a different way. See, and he paid for it. See, so remember the statement, simple but not easy, a price has to be paid? See, what price did this guy pay? His life. See, so there is a price that you pay for not paying the price. Okay? See, and that's the one that we all really ought to be afraid of. See, it's the price that we pay for not paying the price of the destruction of our self-centeredness. Something that you can look at. Right? Could not or would not see our way of life. There is, however, a vast amount of fun about it all. I suppose some would be shocked at our seeming worldliness and levity. Levity means a sense of humor. Our worldliness and levity. But just underneath, see, there is a deadly earnestness. Earnest means no kidding. Okay? Now, I hope that I convey that to you, see, because when it comes to the message that's in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, see, and studying it and taking a look and being honest with ourselves, see, doing this stuff, I am deadly serious. I'm serious as a heart attack. Okay? And I hope, see, I make that clear. See, I'm real serious. It's not, this ain't about giving ourselves a break. It's about, it's a matter of life and death. See, and at the same time, it is possible to have a sense of humor and have a whole lot of fun in your life. Okay? See, but when it comes to, see, how are we going to carry this message to a newcomer? See, there's a deadly earnestness. Okay? Faith has to work 24 hours a day in and through us, or what?
Perish.
Anybody who doesn't know what perish means? Everybody does know? Okay. See, now why does faith have to work 24 hours a day? All right? Now ask yourself, how many people think you're an alcoholic? Those of you who think you're an alcoholic, does your disease, see, come in 9 o'clock in the morning and clock in, see, and then at 5 it clocks out, and it says, okay, you're free the rest of the day, do what you want, you're in no danger, see? You got a 9 to 5 kind of a disease, or a 12-hour-a-day disease, see, or do you have a 24-hour-a-day disease called alcoholism? See, that does this thing called progress over time, the doom curve we had up here. See, so do you see why they're saying this? Faith has to work. See, not be wished for, thought about, any of that. Faith has to work 24 hours a day in, where? In and through us. See, or what? It's a matter of life and death. You think they just write these words to scare you? Or scare me? Or is it just the truth? Just the facts. Take them or leave them. True or false. It's you or it's not you. It's me or it's not me. Okay? Faith has to work 24 hours a day in and through us, or we perish. Okay, most of us feel we need look no further for utopia. Utopia is a mythical or legendary place that exists, and there are no problems there. Everybody's hunky-dory forever. Okay? Now, we have it with us right here and now. Okay? Each day, my friend's simple talk in our kitchen multiplies itself in a widening circle of peace on earth and goodwill to men. Next week, as we get into There's a Solution, I'm going to show you how these circles multiply and all that kind of stuff. Next thing it says there is Bill W. W stands for Wilson, co-founder of AA, died January 24th, 1971. He got sober in November of 1934, so he had about 37 years continuous sobriety. The guy never took another drink. See? And this is a man who was told that he would drink himself to death within a year. See? Now the solution he found, see, well, notice had nothing to do with thinking positively, any kind of affirmations, meetings, hugs, barbecues, or anything. What did this guy do that brought about the solution from the problem or the dilemma that he found himself in?
Work the steps.
Yeah. See? He worked the steps. See? That was it. See? And when we get in, see, you just look over on the next page in your book. What's the chapter title? What does the word A mean?
Singular.
Singular. One. See, there is a solution. Okay, so we're going to get into that next week. Okay, we got about 10 minutes. Anybody got any one? Okay, now before, 2 weeks ago when we started Bill's story, I asked you to cross off the word Bill's and put a name up there. Did you all do that? All right, now, having gone through Bill's story, whether you're a man or woman, whether you're young or old, say whether you did a whole lot of drugs or didn't do a whole lot of drugs, whether you drank 3/5 a day or whether you didn't drink 3/5 a day, whether you've ever been arrested or not, say, whether you've been crazy or whether you haven't been crazy, is that your story? See, can you say, have you begun to see yourself, see, in Bill's story? And the reason we go through this so thoroughly, so is so that everybody can identify, the disease that's going on in the person. And the disease is what goes on in us. It's got really not a whole lot to do with the outside circumstances. Is everybody getting kind of clear about that? Okay? And if you can see that it's your story, then what's going to be your solution is the question we all need to begin to ask ourselves. Do I need the same solution this guy found? Or can I do some version of it? Or can I come up with my own? Or do I have some other set of ideas? These are things that you might ought to start asking yourself if you got doubts, about what the book is beginning to tell you. Okay? And we're going to get in very thoroughly into there is a solution next week. Okay, that's it.